Let's do another example. This example is quite a bit more complex. Be careful as you copy this one down because there's so much going on. 3 bracket 7 subtract 2 parenthesis x subtract 4 closing parenthesis closing bracket equals 4 parenthesis x subtract 3 closing parenthesis add 7. Notice that we have simplification needed on both sides of this equation. Let's begin by changing our subtraction to adding the opposite, and we'll fill in any one coefficients that we feel the need for. So we get 3 bracket 7. Instead of subtract 2, we write add negative 2. Inside the parentheses, we have x, which really means 1x. Subtract 4 is changed to add negative 4. The parentheses and brackets are closed. On the right-hand side of the equation, 4 parenthesis, the x becomes 1x. Subtract 3 becomes add negative 3. Close the parentheses, add 7. Now, since we've done the subtraction changes and the one coefficients in writing now, we look inside the parentheses to see whether anything can be done. But inside the parentheses, we don't have similar terms in either case, so we can't do anything. That means that on the left-hand side, we work inside the brackets. Inside the brackets, we have add and multiply. Of course, we multiply first. So we'll take the negative 2 and distribute it into the parentheses and get negative 2x plus positive 8 on the left. We'll do the same thing on the right, distributing the 4 in the parentheses. And we get 3 bracket 7 plus, and then our results, negative 2x plus 8. Close the brackets. Equals 4 times 1x is 4x. Add 4 times 3 is negative 12 plus 7. We continue simplifying on each side. On the left-hand side, we have brackets. Within the brackets, we'll add 7 and 8 to get 15. On the right-hand side, we have like terms that can be added, negative 12 plus 7. So we get 3 bracket 15 add negative 2x, close the brackets, equals 4x add negative 5. The right-hand side now has been simplified as much as it can be. On the right-hand side, we have 4x add negative 5. We have a variable term and a constant term. The left-hand side has one more step to go. We must distribute this 3 into the brackets and get 3 times 15, 45, plus 3 times negative 2x, negative 6x. The right-hand side is copied. So our two sides have been simplified as much as they can be. And that means that we are ready to begin using the addition property and the multiplication property. Let's begin by eliminating the constant term on the left-hand side. Constant term on the left-hand side is 45, so we'll add negative 45 to both sides of the equation. Notice that we copy 45 plus negative 6x, then add negative 45. Add negative 45. On the right-hand side, we copy 4x, add negative 5, and then we add negative 45. So we've added negative 45 to both sides of this equation. On the left, 45 and negative 45 add out to 0. On the right, negative 5 and negative 45 add to give us negative 50. So we get negative 6x is equal to 4x plus negative 50. We now are ready to eliminate the variable term on the right. The variable term on the right is 4x. We add its opposite, negative 4x. So we'll add negative 4x to both sides of the equation. This gives negative 6x plus negative 4x, that's the extra term, plus negative 4x, equals 4x plus negative 50 plus negative 4x, there's our extra. On the left, negative 6x plus negative 4x will give negative 10x. On the right, the 4x plus negative 4x add up to 0, so they cancel, and we're left with negative 50. This gives negative 10x equals negative 50. This is an equals mark. Negative 10x equals negative 50. To get the letter by itself, we must divide by the coefficient, which is negative 10. Divide on both sides by negative 10. The negative 10 over negative 10 cancels on the left. And that leaves us with x equals 5. Let's take a look at the check. The check, we copy the equation, the whole thing. 3 times 7 subtract 2 times x minus 4, the x minus 4 in parentheses, and the 7 subtract 2 times x minus 4 in brackets, equals 4 times x minus 3 in parentheses plus 7. We recopy, putting parentheses everywhere we have the letter x. The value we're checking is 5. So we'll go back, and everywhere we have the empty set of parentheses, we'll fill in the number 5. Here's 5. Here's 5. Then we simplify on each side. On the left-hand side, working inside the parentheses, we'll get 1. On the right-hand side, working inside the parentheses, we'll get 2. So that gives us, on the left, 3 times, in brackets, 7 plus negative 2 times 1. On the right-hand side, 4 times 2 plus 7. The next step in simplifying on the left is within the brackets, adding and multiplying. We do the multiplying first. So we'll multiply negative 2 times 1 on the left to get negative 2. On the right, 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 7. So this gives us 3, bracket, 7 plus negative 2, bracket, and on the right, 8 plus 7. Finishing up the brackets on the left-hand side, 7 plus negative 2 is 5. On the right, we add the 8 and 7 to get 15. So this gives us 3 times 5. On the right, 15. I've changed from brackets as our symbol of inclusion to parentheses because they're easier to write. On the left then, we have just 3 times 5, which is 15. And 15 equals 15 is correct, which means that back on our other page when we had our solution, x equals 5 is the correct answer. Going back through this lengthy problem, notice that what we do is to simplify on the left-hand side all the way down as much as we can until we reached the step that had 45 plus negative 6x. On the right-hand side, simplify as much as we can until we reach the step that had 4x plus negative 5. Then we're ready to start using the properties of equations, adding the opposite of the things we wanted to eliminate, finally dividing by the coefficient. So our series of steps becomes the following. We simplify on both sides of the equation as much as we can. We then apply the addition property to get a variable term on one side and a constant term on the other. Our final step is to divide by the coefficient.